Tell me you want to hear you're beautiful. Tell me you want to hear you're safe. Tell you nothing is as beautiful as you. I'll keep you safe in my arms. Something about the way you give me strength. Keep on going another day. So when I say I think you're beautiful, there's so much more I'd like to say. I tell you that you have me trapped inside your gilded heart, that I love the joy you bring. I'd ask you never let me go. I drown without a heart, Icarus without a wing. There is nothing I can give you but my broken heart, and tell you that I love you, that I think you're beautiful. When my world collapses, look into my eyes. The wings I thought the sun melted will fly me to the stars. I tell you I wonder if I have a chance to tell the truth, but don't think I do. But Icarus flew too high from carelessness. I'd never be careless with you. A broken wing will heal if you give it time. Wounded hearts, they are the same. Baby, I love you, I always will. What better gift could there be? There is nothing I can give you but my broken heart. Tell you that I love you, that I think you're beautiful. When my world collapses, look into my eyes. The wings I thought the sun had melted will fly me to the stars. Will fly me to the stars. And when I say all this, you tell me that you don't believe. How can I make you understand? The water's cold and deep. You're asking me to fall in. I cannot leave you like this. There's so much more I want to say. I tell you that you have me trapped inside your gilded heart, that I love the joy you bring. I'd ask you never let me go. I drown without a heart, Icarus without a wing. There is nothing I can give you but my broken heart. Tell you that I love you, that I think you're beautiful. When my world collapses, look into my eyes. The wings I thought the sun had melted will fly me to the stars. Will fly me to the stars.
Well, I think we're ready to start this thing up tonight. This is going to be a quick one. I just am trying out a new rig. I'm always trying new things, trying to kind of optimize my tech setup here. And this setup is turning out to be, I think, what I'm going to stick with. And I'll show it to you guys in just a minute, but I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to get in here. And if you see me look up, I'm looking at a TV screen. That's where the chat is located at the moment. So if you are on and you're near a computer, go ahead and say hi. And of course, any questions or comments you'd like to add to the conversation. I'd like this to be a conversation and not so much me just blabbering on for a half hour or however long it takes. But this is kind of my first real live stream from the shop. Past shop live streams have just been done from a phone, and they're very limited on what I'm able to do. But really, the options are unlimited now. It's just up to my own creativity and what I, how much work I'm willing to put in to the process. I have a new webcam. I'm running everything off of a Microsoft Surface Pro 3, which seems to be powerful enough. I'm looking at the video feed right now, and it's looking okay. So I think we are ready to start. I'm wearing a hat just because of my bright lights up above create a horrible glare on my forehead. So anyway, welcome to this live stream. Today I'm going to go over a couple of projects that I've completed. I'm going to give you a shop tour, and I'm going to talk about upcoming projects that I have. So as long as the volume is okay, you guys let me know if I need to boost it. Otherwise, we're going to get started. So first things first, with my Boy Scout troop, we decided to try our hand at knife making, and I've never done it before. In a previous video, I showed you a failed attempt where my knife blade shattered, but I finally have a complete knife here. I'm going to show you guys. This is my first attempt at knife making. You can see it's really shiny. I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously there's lots of room for improvement, but for a first attempt I think I did a pretty good job. So let me go through it. I don't even know what type of knife steel. This was actually, the knife steel was provided by somebody else in the group, but I drew out the knife, I cut it out, you know, kind of formed it, and ground in my primary bevel, and then we heat treated the knife. So we heated it up to a critical temperature, quenched it in some quenching oil, and then I tempered the blade, and then I cleaned everything up, polished it really nice, and then I added these handles. The handles are walnut with brass pins, and I shaped the handle on the knife. It's got some neat features that I like. It's got some nice finger grooves, not only in the knife itself but also in the handle. It also has this little, I don't know what this is called, but it's a notch that you cut that separates the blade from the guard or whatever this part is here, and it just makes it easier to sharpen. So anyway, like I said, it turned out pretty good. You can, if I point it the right way, here you can even see the camera and the reflection there. So that's pretty neat. I've been bit by the knife making bug. I plan on doing many more just because of the positive experience I had with my first finished knife. Alright, so let me grab the camera here. I apologize for shaking things up, but since I'm talking about knives, I figure I'll show you some of the things that I've accumulated to help me with my knife making. So first, well, you can see this is that Surface Pro I told you that's running everything. And the camera's on a really long USB cord. It should be able to get me all the way across the shop. So one of my buddies gave me a 1-inch belt grinder here. So that's great. I mean, some type of belt grinder. I can't say it's essential for making knives, but it sure does help. So I have that. This is just a block of wood that I used as a grinding guide to grind my bevels. I got a grinder. I didn't really use that, but over here I have a polishing and buffing wheel that I used, and that's how I got that really nice shine on the knife there. So that's very helpful. Now I have all of the gear to make a knife except for a forge, and you need a forge basically for heat treatment. I think you could do it with a torch, but I don't have that either. So I have plans on making a forge, and I'm going to go into detail on that when I talk about future projects. So the purpose of this live stream today And the subsequent video that I'm going to release on the channel is to give you a shop tour. I've never done a shop tour in the 3 years that I've been doing YouTube. And the main reason for that is just because the shop has always been such a mess, it's really not worth showing off the mess to everybody. But I just got all of my winter organization done for the most part, and I figure now is as good a time as any to do a shop tour because you'll actually be able to see what's going on. So let's start with my metalworking area. I have videos about most of these things that you're going to see. So this is my metalworking bench. You can see I've got my restored vise on the corner there, and it's just clamped down with clamps right now because I haven't fully committed to that being in that location. I made kind of a bar to hang my grinders on, and you see up there that's my YouTube dashboard and projecting on the TV there. But I got my grinders, my buffers all on there. I've got a piece of railroad rail back there that is used as an anvil. Down below I've got grinder storage and a whole bunch of accessories and things and my welder. And so that's the bench. So some of the projects that you would notice is the bench itself. If you remember those fancy joints that I made, that's a really popular video. I mean, it's coming up on 1 million views. That's how popular that video is. My vise restoration video. Down here, actually, I have a video where I made a motorcycle lift out of a hydraulic lift table. It's no longer a motorcycle lift, and you've probably seen that table. Let me get this out of the way. The table is actually being used as my workbench right now, and it's really great having a height adjustable workbench. So I guess that takes me to this point here. It's just temporarily storing my planer because I don't really have a home for that planer yet. And the planer usually actually just sits on my bench or my stool that I'm currently using to sit at the computer. So that's why it's on the workbench. Workbench has a project on it right now that is the DIY cyclone separator project that I'm working on. I still have yet to resume that since I ruined my router. I have more routers, I just haven't gotten back to that yet. There is the cyclone right there. So that brings us to this corner. Well, actually, next to my metalworking bench, you see this is my shelving unit. So the bottom shelf has scooter and motorcycle parts. Next shelf up is all my chainsaw stuff. My big chainsaw is actually so big it doesn't fit in there, so it's in a different room altogether. But I've got a Stihl 026, a Stihl 024, some cheap Poulan in the back that doesn't run. There's a chainsaw chain sharpener back there, and then my MS660 is in the next room over. There's the motor shelf that I just recently did a video on. Here's some odds and ends up here. An old woodworking vise that I have to install in a woodworking tabletop that someday I'll make. And then there is a metal bandsaw and some torches and things like that. And then the very top is walnut storage. This is all walnut that I milled myself. And then those are my saddlebags to my motorcycle. So this thing's pretty loaded down. I'm a little concerned about the stability. I don't know. It's just not the best situation. In this corner over here, I didn't make a video about this because I just needed to get it done. This is a big bench that I made mainly to give me like a 2-level scooter storage. So on the upper level are the Spree scooters. I have videos on these, I just haven't edited the video. I've been restoring these Spree scooters, and both of them are right around 90 to 95% done. And then, of course, my Honda Passports, which are pretty much 100% done. They do need a little maintenance this winter, and I will get to that, but I probably won't share any videos on that. I have a tendency to collect things like I've mentioned in the past. So down here is it's a small generator. It's not running. I picked that thing up for like $20 or something, but it's a Kawasaki, and it's a good generator. It's the only reason why I actually spent money on it. Usually old motors that don't run, I try not to spend any money on them at all. Like this guy right here. This is an ancient generator, gas powered, obviously. But it doesn't run right now, but I got it for free, and it's a pull start, so that'll be fun. All right, over here in the space between my two garage doors, I have my overfilled tool cart, and this is all for mechanical work, you know, for when I'm working on the scooters or any other engines on my daughter's truck or whatever. Behind that is the big BMW motorcycle covered up and put away for the winter. So let's go over this way. This is my temporary location for my jointer. I put the jointer on wheels. It's another project I didn't film. I built this on a live stream, and that live stream is up, so you can watch that if you want, or fast forward through it to get to the good parts. But this actually turned out really good, and I'm surprised at how well it turned out, because there's so many commercially available products out there to get your tools up on wheels, and I literally used like a single 2x4 and some wheels. The wheels were a little pricey. I think they're $4 or $5 a piece, but it's nice. It's nice to have that thing up and around, because I don't have a permanent home for it yet, but I will. Behind it is my masses of wood. I kind of centralized everything besides that walnut that you saw, and the walnut over here is only over there to keep it segregated from what I call the clean wood. Since that walnut had worm activity, known worm activity, I wanted to quarantine it and keep it away from the other wood until I'm 100% certain that there's no more worm activity in that wood. And I'm pretty sure it's clean now, but now that it's there, I'm just going to leave it there and for about a year, or until I move that shelf. So anyway, down on a rack on wheels, I have a whole bunch of reclaimed wood, and so that's these big old poplar posts, and then on top of that is a bunch of cedar. Behind that, up against the wall, is all my panel goods right now. Above that, on the bottom shelf of my lumber rack, is all of my cherry and walnut and a little bit of maple. Above that is more reclaimed 2x material. Oh, sorry, my finger is probably not pointing in the right direction here. Right there. Above that is a bunch of reclaimed pine material. And then on the top is a whole bunch more cedar. I'm trying not to collect reclaimed wood so much anymore, but if it's good, like quality wood, like those 2x12s are really long and they're really heavy, and they were once planter boxes, and they're made out of Douglas fir, and it's just really good quality wood, and so I figure if I need something structural, I can still use those. All right, at the end of my lumber rack here, I've got my 17-inch bandsaw, and that brings us to the other centerpiece here, my table saw and outfeed table combo here. I built this outfeed table. I don't think I built this one on camera because I had built another workbench style table in the same style as this one. And that one is on my videos page, and it's a pretty popular one. It's probably got a couple 100,000 views on it or more. My table saw is a Grizzly. Hold on, I'm gonna get around my, I've got wires here. So I'm gonna get around. There we go. Table saw is a Grizzly G0771. I have a review of this on my channel. It's kind of a mess over here in this corner. All my paint and stain storage and polyurethane, everything's up in that cabinet. This corner is reserved for my dust collector if I ever get it installed. And then this whole back wall is my monster miter saw station. That is my perpetual project that I'm still working on completing. So you can see right here in the back corner, I have some completed drawers, but they're not, you know, obviously it's just that one section there, and everything else is still just naked drawer fronts with, you know, I just kind of grab them from the side and to pull them out, so they're not complete, but it's helping me kind of establish what goes where, keeping them labeled like that, because you can easily kind of get lost looking for things. But those drawer fronts are made out of cedar, and those pulls I just got for dirt cheap, and I got a whole bunch of them. So that's kind of where that stands. My miter saw still hasn't been attached. There's a lot of things I'm planning on doing with this area, but I can't start any of that until I get my dust collection set up. And speaking of dust collection, all up on top of here is supposed to be paint and stain and jig storage, but right now it's occupied with a bunch of 4-inch pipe, and that's all for dust collection. Up here are my flexi mount shelves. I did a review on those, and they've actually worked out really well. They're very strong, and they've done wonders with me being able to just put stuff away. Just put it away, stuff that I'm not planning on using. For example, that that jig there. I'm probably never going to use that jig. I have a better dovetail jig now than that, so I'm probably never going to use that jig, so I can probably just sell it or give it away. You know, some other things up here that, you know, I just need to get rid of are like these road cases here. They just take up space. Some things I do use, you know, I've got my biscuit joiner there. I've got a sharpening station there that I have used occasionally. And I've got my tempering oven way back over there that I use I did use just recently. A couple of my sanders right up here. My Craig jig that I use all the time is up here. This is my drill press that I use. That's the only drill press I got, so it's the one that I use. And then here's a 14-inch bandsaw that I use for small stuff. The 17-inch bandsaw I use for resawing mainly. The 14-inch I use for intricate work. And then back in the corner is just clamps and other junk. Okay, I think I covered all that pretty good. Excuse me. So what do you guys think, huh? Look at that right up there. I just installed that. I picked that up off of Facebook Marketplace for like $5. That's a great little retractable power strip. So now I just have all my, you know, everything can just be plugged into that when I work out in the middle on my workbench, and it just keeps the wires off the floor. I'm trying to keep all the cables off the floor. It's really hard to do, especially when your workbench is right in the middle, you know. But that way I can wheel around my dust collector and maybe that jointer that's on wheels now, and I plan on putting my planer on a stand also that wheels around, and I can't do that when there's cables all over the floor, so I'm trying to clean all that up. Alright, so anyway, if you're watching this not live, just go ahead and leave a comment below and tell me what you think about the shop. This is as clean as it's going to be for a long time. This is the cleanest it's ever been. So It only took me 2 years to get it this way. So I'm pretty happy with it. All right, so let's talk about some upcoming projects. So, like I said, this guy, I have been bitten by the bug, and I've got friends who are also just getting into knife making, and so together we're going to start probably doing some knife making things. And like I said, I have everything that I need except for a forge. I need a way to heat treat um, my steel, my knife steel. So I've started to pick up supplies to make my own forge. So if you look down here, what you see is an ammo can. That is a package full of ceramic fiber insulation. And then that little tub is some colloidal silica. And with their powers combined, I am going to make a forge. I also need to get some pipe and some other fittings for the propane hookup, but it's going to be a propane forge. I'm actually not using that ammo can. I bought a smaller one because that thing is huge. I don't need that much space. So I bought a little bit smaller. It's the same width, but it's not as tall and it's not as deep. So, and with all of those supplies, I'm going to build my own forge. So I'm pretty excited about that. I've always wanted a forge. You know, I've got that little piece of railroad rail that I bought to use as an anvil. I just think it'd be fun. I watch lots of blacksmiths and knife makers on YouTube. I've been watching them for years. Some notable ones, I guess, would be, well, you know, Jimmy DiResta. He's done a lot of knife making things, you know, and he's always like, I think he was the inspiration for me to jump into YouTube in the first place years ago. And but there's a guy called Green Beetle that I watch. He's really good. You got Alex Steele and other blacksmiths like Rory May. He's the Dirty Smith. And then there's a guy from, it's either, I don't want to get it wrong. He's either from Sweden or Finland. And his name is Torbjorn Aman, I think. I'll link him down in the description below once this becomes a video. Because this dude is incredible. I mean, what he does with a hammer is like more, I mean, not more precise, but it's almost as precise as like a machinist. And I just am amazed at how much of a craftsman that man is. So his videos are very well made, and he also does lots of little gardening things, and he shares that on his videos as well. Okay, so that was one of the upcoming projects. Some other upcoming projects is I'm determined to finish my dust collection. It's long overdue, and it's getting to the point where it's just kind of reckless for me to continue woodworking in this small space without any type of dust collection. I have up here, you see that box right there, that is an air filter, but it's useless without a dust collector because that's more like a polishing unit there. The dust collector is supposed to collect most of the stuff, but what's happening is the dust is just getting thrown up, just blown up into the air in copious amounts. And so then that little guy there, that guy right there, he gets overwhelmed and the filter clogs right away. So I wear a mask sometimes, but not all the time. And I think it'll be a lot easier if I just get my dust collector up and running. And if I have to, I'll buy my own cyclone. But I wanted to try, you know, making one just to see if it could be done. And if I can do it and it's cheap, you know, cost effective, whatever you want to call it, then I can share with you all how I did it so you don't have to spend $200 on a Super Dust Deputy or more on the Gorilla products or whatever they're called or anything else that's out there. So that's the whole thinking behind that. So that's project number one, and these aren't in any order. There's not by priority. Another project I'm gonna work on here soon is that dog kennel that I had designed to be like a credenza dog kennel type deal. It turned into a much more complex project than I was expecting, and so I mean it's going to take me longer, but I'm still interested in making it, and I feel like the need is there for my home, so I'm going to make that. I'm trying to get some sponsorship things in the works just to let me branch out and make more different things. Um, Usually, mainly to accommodate these products that companies would be giving me. So I don't want to speak more about that because everything's pending and nothing is set in stone yet. I like doing the product reviews, but like I've said in the past, I try to keep my product reviews within the realm of a workshop or a home. I don't want to just do, there's lots of offers out there, but I don't want to just do a product review to do a product review, especially if it has nothing to do with woodworking. So that's the idea with that. So forge, dust collector, kennel credenza. Those are the three main things I'm going to be focusing on here in the near future. I'd love to hear your opinion about that. I'm trying to find out what you guys are interested in watching. I mean, I want to make stuff that you guys want to watch. I just make. I mean, that's all I do is I just make. And if I don't have direction, I'll just make something that's interesting to me, but it may not be interesting for you guys. I still have a plan to do a 12 to 15 inch disc sander. 12 inches is standard, but if I can get away with doing a 15 inch, I think that would be cool because not very many people have done a homemade 15 inch disc sander. It really depends on the motor. 1 horsepower may struggle getting up to speed with a 15 inch disc. It also depends on what the disc is made out of. If I make it out of a piece of particle board or something like that, like a lot of them are made with melamine is the word I'm thinking of. And it's really heavy, and it would be harder for a motor to get that going. But once I figure that out, I mean I think a 12-inch piece of melamine is fine, but 15, I don't know. I haven't done the math. I can calculate the area of both and find out how much of a percentage more 15 is, but even though it's only 3 inches more in diameter, it's a lot of material that would have to get up and get going. So, welcome everybody that just joined. I'm glad to see you guys here. What else? What else do I want to talk about today? Well, I think I'm getting close to wrapping this up. I'm going to take this video and edit it down to condense it, and then I'm going to re-upload it. This particular unedited live stream will not show up on my video feed, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I thank everybody for jumping on. I'll have to look at the statistics kind of after the fact. Looking at them live really doesn't help. But, I had pretty good attendance on this live stream, so I want to thank you guys for jumping in, even if it was for just a couple minutes. And I think I'm going to wrap this one up. So thank you, everybody, for joining. And submit all of your questions down in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer. I'm pretty active on that. I like to answer questions. And if I get enough questions, maybe in one of these live streams, I will do kind of a question and answer type thing where I answer the questions on the live stream. I'm thinking about doing that. I'd love to get to a routine where I'm live streaming every Tuesday and Thursday, and then maybe an extra special live stream on Saturdays. But excuse me. But I don't know. We'll see how the setup works. Like if I do a live stream on Thursday, it's going to be a live stream of me working and not so much me talking, because I'm not sure how thrilled you guys are with seeing me talk all the time. I don't get a lot of interaction in chat yet, and so me sitting here talking doesn't seem to be the best use of time. But if I do it once a week, like I'm doing here, I'm fine with that. What else? So, if you're interested in seeing more of this type of beginner... Yikes. This type of beginner knife work... Yeah, that's not going to be in the YouTube video. Just let me know below, and I'll be happy to document my journey on learning how to make knives. I mean, on a 1080p screen, this looks awesome probably, but it's got flaws, and it's gonna, the finish work, especially like on the handle and stuff, it just needs. I kind of rushed through it because I just wanted to get it done because I was so excited that I had my own knife that I made. So anyway, I'm starting to ramble. I don't want to bore you guys. Thanks again for stopping by, saying hi, and hopefully I will get a regular schedule on the live stream so you know when to expect to see me on these. But until then, thanks for coming in, and I will see you guys next time.
His sanity's on trial again. Before he starts, he can't explain his words to them. Snow is an old friend, they keep him apart. He wishes they could understand that his victory will never end. And they can't erase his yesterday, and they cannot see the price he's paid. So he writes a note and leaves it on the door. It says, if she's your daughter, she's my heart. And if she's your princess, I've sworn my life to her. She's your angel, she's my saving angel too. I fought 1,000 wars for her. I know I've had the darkness in me. I know I've had the devil in my arms. If I could show the tears I cried to just be pure and sane. It says, she's your daughter, she's my heart. She's your princess, I've sworn my life to her. If she's your angel, she's my saving angel too. I fought 1,000 wars for her. I know I've had the darkness in me. I know I've had the devil in my arms. If I could show the tears I cried to just be pure and sane. Now it's drawing near the end. The trial's over. He wonders if he's convinced them, but now he won't pretend. So he writes a note and leaves it on the door. Come take my hand, come feel the way I feel, come see the way I see when I look at you. Come take my hand, come hear the quiet whisper, the water's falling with its silent signals of stone. Come touch my face, the way I've wanted to touch yours, but never could because I was afraid. Come take my hand, come feel the way I feel. I'm standing here beneath the silent moon.